The story starts and we see a man. While this man was cleaning an old mansion, he found a safe inside a wardrobe that was locked. Since the mansion's original owner was no longer alive, he forced the safe open. Inside, he discovered some strange-looking tools and a very old book with the image of a mysterious creature on its cover. As soon as he tried to open the book, the edge of a page cut his hand, and a few drops of blood fell onto the book. He didn't pay much attention and began flipping through its pages. What was written in the book seemed to be related to black magic or demonic rituals. He jokingly read aloud a name from the book, and suddenly all the lights in the room began to flicker, and the door creaked open on its own. His friend, who was in the nearby room, came running after hearing the sounds and fearfully asked what had happened. Both of them began to feel that something was wrong in the room. A strange, eerie atmosphere had developed. As they were trying to figure things out, they heard the sound of furniture moving from the room downstairs, even though there was no one else in the house. When they went downstairs, they saw a human-shaped mark on the clean carpet, as if a body had been lying there for a long time. Nearby, there were also some bloodstains that had soaked into the carpet. Now Fendi was convinced that some supernatural force existed in the mansion. He noticed that the same safe and the mysterious book were lying on the ground, and beside them was a large pentagram, a five-pointed symbol often used in black magic. He immediately recognized that this was no ordinary matter. He asked his friend if he had read the book. Out of fear, his friend denied it, but the truth was that he had not only read the book, but had also loudly spoken the name of a demon written in it. Now the fear had grown so much that both of them started trying to escape. But as soon as they touched the door, the handle started burning, as if someone had made it as hot as fire. They tried to jump out of the window, but the same thing happened there too. Now Fendi realized that something evil had been unleashed by reading the book, and maybe they could no longer leave the mansion. When pressured further, he confessed that he had read the name out loud. Fendi became very serious. He said that the book might belong to a devil worshiper. Such people don't just worship, they also possess the power to summon those spirits into this world. The name he had read was likely part of that process. To deal with the situation, they decided to try the remedies given in the book. They lit some candles and placed them in a specific way around that symbol. Then one of them dropped a few drops of their blood on the book and began reading the 4 forbidden names written in it. As soon as the third name was read, suddenly the blood-soaked ghost of a woman appeared in the hallway. Panicking, he read the 4th and final name too. And then, as written in the book, he started rotating the plate. Just then, the girl, holding a knife in her hand, charged toward them. But as soon as the plate fell to the ground, the girl vanished and both Muriel and Fendi fainted. When they opened their eyes, they found themselves safe and unharmed. They were still trying to make sense of what had happened when a strange voice from downstairs seemed to call out a name. It felt like someone was summoning someone. Terrified, they slowly went down the stairs. There was no one in the house, so they tried to open the main door again. This time, the door opened. But as soon as they stepped outside, both were stunned. The scene outside the mansion was no longer the same as they had seen before. Everything seemed different. Something was strange. Unable to understand the situation, they returned inside the house. Once again, they began to hear noises from the room downstairs. When they went closer, they saw a dead body lying on the floor. It was the same spot where they had previously found bloodstains. Now their fear intensifies. They ran upstairs and started checking other rooms. In one of the rooms upstairs, they found another dead body. Nearby, in the bedroom, another corpse was found hanging. Seeing all this, they were terrified. On the way downstairs, Muriel grabbed Fendi by the collar and angrily punched him in the face. "Didn't I tell you not to read that book?" Both of them were exhausted and hopeless. Just then, they heard footsteps downstairs again. When they reached there, they saw that the dead body had suddenly disappeared. Now they started to suspect that maybe they were not alone in this mansion. At that moment, Fendi looked out the window. There stood a man with an axe embedded in his skull. Terrified, both of them ran toward a room. But then, a masked figure, the mask resembling a goat's head, attacked them with a knife. While running, the two got separated. Muriel hid inside the bathroom tub. Just then, a blood-soaked woman started banging her head on the door. Muriel held his breath in fear and remained still. After a while, everything went quiet. When he peeked outside, the woman had vanished. He stepped out and went looking for Fendi. Meanwhile, Fendi was hiding in the hall, but the masked man reached there too. He grabbed Fendi by the neck and stabbed his shoulder with a knife. Fendi's screams echoed throughout the mansion. Despite the pain, he pulled out the knife and attacked the assailant with it. giving him a chance to escape. Fendi ran upstairs and started looking for Mirul, but there he came face to face with the same axe-wielding man. He froze in fear. Just then, Mirul appeared and pulled him into a safe room. They told each other what had happened, and now they began to understand. Perhaps they were trapped in an entirely different world, a world that was part of some demonic force. The real root of this horrifying series of events was that mysterious book. Fendi suggested that if they burned the book, maybe they could escape this terrifying trap and return to the real world. With that thought, they gathered themselves and headed toward the same room as before. But as soon as they tried to light the book with a lighter, they realized it had stopped working. For some unknown reason, the lighter kept failing. Then Fendi remembered that fire could be lit using the gas stove in the kitchen. Just as they started heading toward the kitchen, suddenly the room door shut by itself. And right then, behind them stood the masked man. A chill ran down both their spines. Terrified, they turned around, but there was no one there. They quickly ran down the stairs, but as soon as they turned a corner, they saw a woman banging her head violently against the wall. Horrified by the sight, they tried to flee, but got separated again. In the chaos, Fendi fell down. When he came to his senses, he saw that the person he had collided with was none other than Mirul's corpse. In fact, the real Mirul had already been killed, and the one who had been with him all along was a demonic spirit in Mirul's form. Now that spirit stood in front of Fendi, and its terrifying laughter made the atmosphere even more dreadful. Enraged, Fendi attacked it and landed a few punches. The spirit kept laughing loudly, like a child whose toy had just been snatched. Panicked, Fendi ran, but the spirit started chasing him. Somehow he managed to enter a room, but as soon as he stepped inside, he saw a man standing there with an axe embedded in his skull. Without wasting time, Fendi shoved the man to the ground and pulled the axe out of his head. Thinking the man might attack again, he struck him multiple times and finished him off completely. Now Fendi felt like he had become dead. He held the axe in his hand, his face tense with rage and fear. He opened the door. His intention was now clear. Either he would survive, or that monster would. Fendi bid a final farewell to the real Mirul and started descending the stairs with the book. But just then, the demon with the goat's head caught him again and began to strangle him. Struggling, Fendi was thrown to the ground. Just then, from the corner of the room, a terrifying woman lunged at him, pinned him to the ground and started strangling him. But at the last moment, Fendi picked up a nearby book and hit her hard on the head. The woman fell to the ground, and Fendi finally defeated her. After that, Fendi ran to the kitchen to burn the cursed book, but the gas stove wasn't working. Tears welled up in his eyes in despair. Just then, the masked demon appeared behind him once again and caught him. Fendi no longer had the strength left to fight. He had given up. The demon stabbed him straight in the stomach, and Fendi collapsed to the ground. But suddenly, a ray of light appeared. A beam of sunlight entered through the window. In reality, Fendi and Mirul's bodies were still in that room during the ritual. When Layla, who lived next door, suspected someone had entered the haunted mansion, she quickly arrived with an exorcist. Fortunately, the exorcist managed to bring Fendi back just in time. However, Mirul's soul was still trapped in that other realm. Layla explained that if she brought back soon, body and soul would never reunite. Meanwhile, in that other world, the real Mirul had miraculously come back to life. As he was looking for Fendi, the demon caught him too and began strangling him. After a great struggle, Mirul managed to break free and tried to climb the stairs. But in the end, he was caught again and thrown to the ground. Just then, he heard Layla's voice and saw the exorcist appear with her. The exorcist began chanting, and sparks started flying from the demon's body. He began writhing in pain from the burning fire and finally let go of Mirul. The three of them eventually returned to the real world. When Fendi regained consciousness, he was at Layla's house. Seeing Mirul safe and sound, he breathed a sigh of relief. Fendi asked Layla about the mansion. Layla told him that the place was cursed. Anyone who goes there rarely returns alive. Fortunately, she arrived in time with the exorcist. Otherwise, both their souls would have been trapped there. They had thrown away that book many times, but it kept returning to the mansion. In fact, the mansion once belonged to Layla's brother, who died in a road accident. After his death, the mansion was inherited by his son and daughter-in-law. But the two of them began worshiping the devil and made a pact with an evil spirit. Whoever came to the mansion would be sacrificed, and in return, they would be granted a place in heaven. 2 years ago, both of them died, but their pact is still active. Layla said that Fendi and Mirul were just the latest victims. The souls they saw there were all past victims of the mansion, and the son and daughter-in-law's spirits still reside there, and the horrifying sacrifices are still ongoing. With this, the story ends here. Subscribe to this channel for more horror stories like this.